Welcome to Tone Talk. Welcome to Tone Talk.
Hour early because I want to go ahead and hit this show. Kind of came to me that we need to reevaluate this. Also, I was quoted in an article that I'm going to share in a second about gambling. Literally, I feel honestly that there's no one talking about this but me. Not at the level or with the nuance or with the detailed discussion or the honesty about where this goes and what you have to do as a solution. I don't know what a lot of you guys are going to do. You got husbands that love their local team. You got a whole inability to understand that you basically might not be in the same position as somebody else because you got a 15-year-old that loves sports. Cocaine used to be seen as okay. I'll show you later because cocaine didn't just start off at crack. It was in movie line items and it was seen as okay drug. Generally. That's how we got to the crackhead. Talk about it. How's everybody doing today? This is Attorney Antonio Moore here to have a discussion. I'm trying to talk about this gambling, this sports gambling that has hit a wave across America, particularly within Black homes and with Black men, in particularly young Black men. For many of you, you don't really grasp the seriousness of this moment, nor your proximity to it if you have a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, or a 25-year-old. You need to be sitting with them and you need to be treating this like the next crack epidemic. I have no understanding of what's going on other than the fact that people are ignoring the truth of what's going on and the signals of how this is coming because you love the 90s and the 2000s. All that nostalgia, we'll get into in a second, how nostalgia makes you have dopamine, how nostalgia is being used, Black gossip, to sell shows that really are commercials, in my view, for gambling. So the gambling is a 30-second read, and the show around it that might be 2 hours is for the gambling. That's why it's in the corner. DraftKings with Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay, the whole time. Let's talk about it today because you have Gils Arena, the basketball player. You have Club Shay Shay, the football player, and you have Joe Budden along with Mace and a couple of others. The rappers. And all these shows popped up in the last 12, 24 months. And these shows are pushing this sports betting and this gambling, particularly on a Black audience, a young Black audience, in particular Black males. And nobody is saying anything, not the NAACP, not the Urban League. And so you nor them, meaning the Black males being targeted, understand you're being targeted. And in my view, you are being targeted. Some people would say, well, Kevin Hart or Jamie Foxx are movie stars. Are they really? Do you remember what kind of movie star Eddie Murphy was with Coming to America and how many times people watched Beverly Hills Cop and how it was a crossover hit? Kevin Hart is an urban targeted ad buy. So is Jamie Foxx, who was in movies 20 years ago, 15 years ago. He is a hyper target towards urban, particularly Black male audiences, Black audiences. And what you see is when you see him in an MGM commercial, they are coming to you, in my view. I want to talk because I got a lot of people talking and they don't know what they're talking about. They using Kevin Hart because he talks to everybody. You believe what you want. You got white people who don't even know who he is. For real. They know he the guy that was in the movie with The Rock. The little guy. All right. You know his last name, where he was born, his wife, when he cheated, all that. They know that. So we got, again, the basketball player with Gils Arena. We got Club Shay Shay with the football player. And we got the Joe Budden. And they all give you old 90s stories, 2000 stories about when Jordan tied his shoes wrong, or who the best point guard is, or in football, who is the best quarterback in 1998. Or they go get gossipy stories about what happened on the Friday set. See, when I interviewed Cube, it wasn't nothing to do with no Friday. It wasn't nothing to do with all about the Benjamins. We interviewed and discussed Black politics in the 2020 election and the reality of the issues and also what he felt about his Black agenda. That's a difference. There's levels. There's levels. These people are bringing people on to use gossip, in my view, to sell gambling, and you are saying nothing. You got a whole NBA team right now owned by a casino family. The Dallas Mavericks owned by the Sands family, the family that owns the Sands Casino. And y'all ain't picketing or saying nothing. I want to talk. So again, we got Club Shay Shay presented by DraftKings. That Cat Williams show got 60 million views. You let me know whether it should have 1.5 million, maybe 2, and how it got to 60. Again, you got the DraftKings presented by. Some people would say, well, there's a YouTube ad for this or that on your show. That's a YouTube ad placed by the advertiser. I'm not talking about that, and I'm not even blaming nobody for that. You don't control that algorithm. I'm talking about presented by. I'm talking about having the promotion at the bottom of your thing, doing a 30-second read for Prize Picks or for DraftKings or for Underdog being presented by. I'm talking about shows that are anchored by gambling more and more. There's a lot of issues here that nobody wants to talk about, but I will tell you again, they are using, in my view, 90s and 2000 stories to get to that nostalgia, which triggers that dopamine and then makes you feel more secure, more safe, and let your guards down as you watch this content and you take in gambling. It's in the corner the whole time during the interview of the Monique. Go look at that DraftKings logo. Let's have some moral and ethics. That's what Joe Budden said. We got people in here. A lot of you are going to have to answer to your failure tomorrow if you don't listen to me today. You got to understand, cocaine was seen in a certain light before it became crack. I'm going to talk about it later, how it was in the line item of movies and how they used like an Overton window. Go look up Overton windows to move. And then what happened was the crackhead came later. If I had to call the prediction, we're going to have a form of crack addiction level issues through this gambling. And I want you to own your shit. I want you to own that you did this to your child. Playing these nostalgic stories about who dated Toni Braxton. Playing these nostalgic stories about whether Oprah and Monique got along or whoever, whatever it is, bro. We got to talk about this just to get you to talk about politics. It ain't just one or two. It's all of them. You got Sheed and Tyler's YouTube show. It's a whole nother basketball player. Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Sheed. Where did you see that? Right here. Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Gil. All right. Then everybody, Boyce, Tariq, they going to all come in later. I want to talk about this. No. Today is the day. Actually, the last few years has been the time to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it tomorrow after you watch the show. They put them up here in these nice custom studios, and they just sit up and banter about whether Tim Duncan is better than Kevin Garnett. In my view, this is the real content. Again, that's my view. Sports gambling and liquor. He got the liquor in the back. I think that's his Cavassier or whatever he's selling. Sports gambling and liquor being sold. Cognac. His cognac. I'm sorry. Sports gambling and liquor being sold to largely poor Black Americans, decade-ago, and everyone is far too quiet. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this.
You believe with this into the NFL season, we got to make every second count. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you can make the most out of every game day. Bet on your favorite teams for a shot at winning big bucks. New customers can score 150 instantly in bonus bets for betting 5 on any matchup. Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app now. Use code Shannon. New customers can score 150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on the NFL. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Shannon. The crown is yours. Let's get to your upbringing. Born in Cincinnati.
It is Prize Picks time. What is that, you ask? Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America that's super exciting and really easy to play. All you have to do is select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stat line for your chance to win up to 25 times your money. And now with basketball season and football season here at the same time, you can do combo selections and select players across sports. So shout out to Prize Picks. Mine's is real simple for this week. Here's my Joe Budden genius I'm lending you. I'm going with Dak again. Dak is easy money for me while he's on fire. They have Philly. I think it's a statement game for them, more or less. It's 2.
So you got these shows where they talk about a bunch of stuff that triggers a nostalgia about them videos that you used to watch on BET and MTV that are in your mind, and it triggers that nostalgia, and then you watching them, and then they just blend in the gambling, and then they come right back to the nostalgia old stories, and you don't know what the problem is. How many times we gonna talk about Aaliyah and gambling, or Tim Duncan and gambling, or Kobe Bryant and gambling, or Michael Jordan being the best player, or LeBron and gambling? And nobody talking about it. 310-388-3499. I know it's early today. We're going to get to it. Can we stop? I want you to look at this show and go look in the corner of this show on YouTube. It doesn't have it on the GIF, but in that corner is something that is a logo. I want you to look up that logo and tell me if it's not the DraftKings logo. And tell me how long it stays in that corner during the video. You can fast forward through the whole couple hours. They did an article recently. In that article, they asked the question that I answered like nobody else is answering, because it's that time. I believe this is the next great crack addiction of America. I believe that gambling will take fire across your children, particularly your young black males, like nothing you've seen, and you are doing far too little. What can I do? Well, if you got them young boys, you don't get to watch the game tonight. Gambling house owned the Mavericks. I know it's hard because we were not told that gambling, that sports is like cocaine. But there was a time when cocaine wasn't said that it's cocaine, and it was in line items of movies. It moved over to crack. I found that out doing my documentary on the Iran-Contra, talking to the person at the center of it, Freeway Rick. What made you do this, Rick? Maybe this is the same question to Shannon and to Joe Budden. What made you do this? Well, it was in the line items. It's sports. Everybody get to choose, right? I need you to see what is going on. But to see it, you got to kind of listen. So this is the quote that I gave. He changed some stuff. One of the strongest voices on this topic belongs to Antonio Moore, a Los Angeles attorney and podcast host. Is the sports betting industry consciously and specifically targeting African Americans as potential customers? Absolutely, he said. You see it in Black content creators. And what I said is, from their shows being presented by or sponsored, from Joe Budden to Club Shay Shay to Gils Arena, Gilbert Arenas and Shannon Sharp, the gambling industry runs national commercials with Kevin Hart and Jamie Foxx. Again, as I just said, you don't use Jamie Foxx to target white people. And if you don't understand, then you just don't understand. And white people know him too. You don't use Jamie Foxx unless you're targeting Black urban folk, tying him back to all of the movies that he did 20 years ago. The gambling industry runs national commercials with Kevin Hart and Jamie Foxx nonstop. This, in my opinion, is to target a core audience found in Black homes. By way of example, Mr. Moore offered a comparison between 2 sports programs, one hosted by Colin Cowherd, who is white, and the other hosted by Mr. Sharp, who is Black. If you were to contrast 2 shows, Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay on YouTube and Colin Cowherd's The Herd Show on Fox, and watch the 30-second read ads, you see the difference. While Cowherd is reading about mental health, if you watch Colin Cowherd's Fox The Herd Show, he does 30-second reads as well, just like the one I just showed you. But he reads about mental health. The site BetterHelp.com, He reads about tankless water heaters. He is targeting the white middle class and giving them what I feel productive items to buy. He not reading that. Somebody pointed out, well, he did do a read on Draymond Green's show, which he also, because I'll talk about it in a second, has partnership in. But that ain't on that herd. At least not to my eyes. That ain't on that herd on Fox. While Coward is reading about mental health service, Sharp is doing DraftKings promotional reads. Mr. Moore notes that Mr. Sharp's show is part of Mr. Coward's programming. So Colin Coward has this thing called the volume where he is putting out these people. And obviously he has enough relationship, or he knows enough to know to sell white folks the tankless water heater and the mental health. And I don't want to see these added later on top of the gambling. Get rid of the gambling and just do your nostalgia show and see if it gets the same view count. I don't think it will. I think it's pushed by gambling, but yes, I would like to see Shannon Sharp take off the gambling and the presented by DraftKings and just do the show on the gossip. Don't stack these mental health things on top now. After in response, y'all be thinking these people ain't watching. Mr. Moore notes that Sharp's show is part of Mr. Coward's program. So he has this volume, and he partnered with Shannon Sharp. Come on. So Shannon and Coward are tied together, but Coward ain't putting them ads on Shannon's show. The ones about better health and mental health. Like, at least not to my eyes. We just get the DraftKings and the liquor for the cognac. He likened the sports betting industry's advertisement. Why do we get targeted gambling and liquor ads? He likened the sports betting industry's advertisement to the Joe Camel ads for Camel cigarettes that appeared in the 90s. Those ads, which featured a cartoon camel character, were criticized by American Heart Association, the American Lung Association, and American Cancer Society as an attempt to market cigarettes to children. The Joe Camel advertisements were voluntarily withdrawn from publication in 1997. Okay, so what I'm saying today is what should happen is the government should step in and not allow gambling houses to use Black nostalgia or nostalgia and old content to basically sell content, sell their gambling. This should totally be banned. If you want to do just reads and do commercial ads, you go do that. We should judge you for it. But I don't believe they should allow the blending because it is far too dangerous. This should be seen in the vein of Joe Camel. They should not allow shows where Black content creators are bringing up old nostalgic content to basically then sell a presented by show, presented by a gambling house. When they talk about Joe Camel, they're talking about this. This is back in 97. Joe Camel advertising campaign violates federal law. The agency is seeking an order that would bar Reynolds from using the Joe Camel campaign to advertise to kids and require companies to conduct a public education campaign discouraging young people from smoking. I'm not calling Black folks children. What I am saying is that we are vulnerable. And the thing that's happening right now is we don't understand the tools and tactics that are used to bring things into your home that were not there before. One of them is sport, another is nostalgia, and then you add it in with these basketball and these damn old rappers, and they bringing up shows videos that are in your mind. Do you know that on the Missy video this happened? Come on. And the gambling's in the corner or on the bottom. I need you to see what I'm saying today. I know it's difficult to understand it, but these are presented by. Presented by is like, that's it. DraftKings. In the corner is that V. I believe that's the volume owned by Colin Coward. Can I talk today? Can I bring it home today about this gambling? Using these basketball, these football players, and these rappers from the 90s and the 2000s to bring up nostalgic stories. And I'm going to show you in a second what nostalgia does to push you on this gambling. Again, I talked about it before the gambling. This is a decadent veil. It ain't nothing but an attempt to cover up that white America has nearly all of the wealth in the country. So, in a sense, what this decadent veil does, even before the gambling, is it creates a false calm amongst Black folks that you too have access. And it also makes white folks less empathetic because they see that black folks have money, but they don't realize that's only 40 people and they got their money in the wrong way. Yeah, entertainment is the wrong way. No potatoes, no corn, no nothing. No means of production. No, they don't even own a piece of the little team. But the Sands Corp, the gambling house, do. God damn it. But let's talk about this nostalgia because you guys are saying, what are you saying, Tone? I've never heard this before. Let's start on the yellow one. Nostalgia marketing is a promotional strategy that uses familiar elements from the past to create an emotional connection with consumers. It can help brands differentiate themselves, foster loyalty, and increase brand affinity. You ain't got to worry about they might mess. The Sands Corp owns the Dallas Mavericks that are playing tonight in the NBA Finals, and they are trying to petition Texas. And that's why he sold to them, because of their power, to allow for a full casino gambling kind of arena to go up in Texas. I don't know what you guys are doing right now. You should be picketing. You definitely should be asking yourself, can I let a 15-year-old watch it? The way that you understand about alcohol, not giving them alcohol, or understand about drugs are bad, DARE campaign. We got to do it now before we get to the DARE campaign. Or you don't do it and they just steal your forks and spoons or whatever happens later with their gambling addicts where they have debt and all of that. Folks, nostalgia plays a significant role in marketing, tapping into consumers' emotions and influencing purchasing decisions by evoking memories of the past. Brands can create powerful connections with consumers, foster loyalty, and differentiate themselves in a crowded marketplace. That's all this is. You've seen Monique in the Parkers, and you used to come home from school and watch it, and you know the episodes. In fact, you know a couple by heart. So when you see Monique next to the DraftKings logo in the corner, you don't realize the way that fosters loyalty, in my view. Can we get to it? They not up here talking no politics or no nothing. They up here talking about old ass stories. Nostalgia branding, powerful or manipulation. Nostalgia branding allows brands to connect with customers, creating a sense of familiarity and trust. Additionally, nostalgia can invoke, let me say it again. Nostalgia branding allows brands to connect with customers, creating a sense of familiarity and trust. Additionally, nostalgia can invoke a sense of security and comfort, which can help customers form a strong connection with the brand. However, nostalgia branding can also be seen as a form of manipulation. So you have Shannon Sharp, who was this tight end in a video game you played in '96, reading the DraftKings 30-second ad. You have Joe Budden, who had the Pump It Up video that you've seen, reading this ad campaign for Prize Picks. You have Gilbert Arenas talking about Michael Jordan, who you liked with the Wizards back in 2002, sitting up there with an underdog fantasy cup. Additionally, nostalgia can evoke a sense of security and comfort, which can help customers form a strong connection with a brand. However, nostalgia branding can also be seen as a form of manipulation. The term manipulation is outlined as the act of influencing or controlling someone or something in order to gain an advantage or to benefit oneself. Some believe nostalgia branding is used to manipulate the customers into buying a product or service that they may not otherwise have bought or capitalized on sentimentality for increased profits. I believe that if a product brought joy to them in the first instance, then being reminded of this happy memory is no bad thing if they decide they want to purchase the brand again. That is what I'm saying government should step in with on Just Like Joe Camel. Because the next product is the gambling. It ain't even another rap song. It ain't even that show. I want to talk. I just want to show you. Because I don't know what you guys are going to do, but you better do something. Somebody asked me a question that tied to this, and I appreciate the question, so I wanted to bring it to you about why. So I did this post about old Barkley and Gail King, Oprah's old friend, and they did a show and it failed. I told them it was going to fail when it came out about politics. Well, that didn't work. Basically, they asked them both. They asked the show, CNN. Well, that didn't work. Like I said, it wouldn't. Let's put Barkley and Oprah, old friend Gayle King, to talk nothingness on politics. Charles Barkley hit CNN being full of S following a hosting stint. And basically, they asked the show. But somebody asked a question. Tone, can you explain why they have to recycle the same old black celebrities? And I gave him his answer. How many people in the chat want to know what the answer to that is? In my view, I want to get to it. In my view, in the chat, put your hands up if you want to know. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. In my view, it is because those black celebrities were anchored for years through MTV and film and sports in a time when there were less options. And you see it with even white content overall. Why did they keep doing G.I. Joes? Why did they keep doing Transformers? Well, we used to sit and only had like 3 channels. So a lot of people are still mesmerized. So if they just do a robot movie, nobody's going to go see it. But they'll go see Transformers. And they do not know how to create new white stars and new content. But they're not using that. There ain't no, at least to my knowledge, there ain't no Transformers then tied to gambling. They would ban that. So, I mean, the Transformer ad with the gambling because it is dangerous. So people tuned in to a single piece of, let me read it again. In my view, is because those black celebrities were anchored, meaning Oprah and Jordan and all of them, even Joe Budden and Shannon Sharp. They were anchored for years through MTV and film and sports in a time when there were less options, less channel, wasn't no streaming. We had 6 channels. You had to watch. Okay, so people tuned into a single piece of content more often. Remember when you used to watch a video 6 times? Remember when BET used to run the artist's favorite videos and it be them again, showing themselves again? So people tuned into a single piece of content more often and at times watched, say, a single music video repetitively. Or they have a CD and they play it and they play it again, they play it again. That is in your mind. So when you talk about an old story about Fridays or Fridays After Next, it triggers that nostalgia, bringing down your security, increasing your loyalty, and you then get the 30-second read. They are like sampled music and can trigger interest in mediocre product as a result. In addition, these older black celebrities play the boomer ego, black boomer ego. As a 90s baby, this makes complete sense to me. So much content from that era was drilled into us from watching 106 in Park and MTV every single day before and after school. I hate to see what they have in store for us. Well, you see it now with this gambling. You ain't got to hate to see it, and you ain't got to say what they have in store. They don't want to put you in prison no more. We'll just get that debt. And that's my view. And the content that they give us is not genius level. I don't get nothing from it. I get fed from news art and videos by you and Yvette. I personally don't need those long in the tooth black celebrities. Damn, Tone, you just be telling it. They not like us. They ain't listening. Can we get to it? Can we get to it today? Gilbert Arenas and that underdog fantasy presented by. You got Club Shay Shay, and when you actually pick it up, I guess this is why the article says Fox, because I don't know his thing. I don't know if it's tied to Fox, but to my knowledge, it isn't. But you got this this is the main banner. Shay Shay is a weekly podcast hosted by 3-time Super Bowl champion, member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Each week, Shannon will sit down, I guess, with black celebrities. These are all black old celebrities. Dion, got Tracy McGrady, Waka Flocka, I think is his name, Magic. Everybody from 2000. You got Gils gonna give you his picks. All right, underdog fantasy. Can we talk today? You got drink chats with underdog fantasy. All right. Joe Budden with prize picks. You got Cameron and Mace sign 8-figure deal for It Is What It Is talk show. with Underdog Fantasy. Cameron and Mace are taking their sports series to the next level. The duo announced a new 8-figure deal, bringing It Is What It Is to the sports betting Underdog Fantasy. 2 old rappers are going to talk to you about sports. And the reason you're listening to them is because they're going to mix in nostalgic stories, and also you remember them from old videos that were played repetitively on MTV and BET. The enchantment of nostalgia and its effects on mental health. Nostalgia is the yearning for the past. It's more than just a word or description. Rather, it's a story of reminiscence, a story through time where each chapter shows you the joyous pleasure you once experienced. You don't even realize you're going through all that, but listen to this from a scientific level. Nostalgia begins with our hippocampus. Nostalgia begins with our hippocampus and amygdala. These are the parts of your brain that deal with emotion and memory. They are usually triggered by some sort of external sensory cue. This could be a familiar scent, rhythm, or even location. These sensory factors trigger the region of the brain which begins the process of nostalgia. As we are triggered by nostalgic factors, our brains sift through our memories and selectively retrieve the emotion that aligns with that specific emotional tone. So you now have a Black America that is trying to hold on to the potential they felt in the 90s because it's really hard economically right now. And what you have is that nostalgia isn't just a memory of a music that you liked. You don't even know. It is a memory of a potential of a version of you that's been long gone. So instead of living in this moment, you living in a yesteryear version of yourself through the show, and then they bring up the gambling that can get you that potential back. As we are triggered by nostalgic factors, our brains sift through our memories and selectively retrieve the emotion that aligns with that specific emotional tone. The selectivity of memory retrieval in nostalgia often emphasizes positive experiences, contributing to the overall uplifting nature of this emotion. This then leads to the activation of neurons, which causes a release of different chemicals like dopamine into the brain, which is one of the roots of feeling joy and pleasure. Are we back to that cocaine and that crack? The way it make you feel, the way it hit that dopamine? Y'all think that they don't know this. Well, just think that. Y'all think that they're using these people because they're dynamic? Well, you just think that. What I'm going to tell you today is that we are in a place where you better get smarter than that. Because this nostalgia branding, in my view, ain't nothing but manipulation. Can we talk? Can I get to it? Not going to keep you long. 310-388-3499 if you want to talk about it. There are some recent cases around Prize Picks and DraftKings and the like that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. So just in February of 2024, Prize Picks had to pay a $15 million settlement and cease operations. See, many of these states, gambling is illegal, like California, but Prize Picks, and a lot of them were able to get around it by basically classifying this as skill, as I understand, by using parlays, but it's illegal in the state. But then some of the states said, no, this is just fantasy sports betting. The platform offered fantasy sports contests, including pick'em games, mimicking parlay bets to users 19 and older. Prize Picks operated daily fantasy sports and pick'em games, which offer wagering contests nearly identical to parlay bets offered on licensed mobile sports wagering sites in New York, exposing an apparent loophole in the fantasy sports law. Adam Wexler, the company's CEO, and Robert Williams, executive director of the Gaming Commission, signed the settlement agreement a day after the Times Union story was published last week. But after the settlement was announced on Tuesday, Prize Picks was still running contests, including pick'em wagers. And this is the Prize Picks that Joe Budden is pushing. And y'all okay with the show and don't say nothing. State Senator Joseph Adabu on Tuesday said lawmakers are discussing legislation to close the apparent loophole in the state law that has allowed pick'em contests to proliferate and allow young adults under the age of 21 to place proposition-style wagers that are similar to parlays offered on mobile wagering sports books. People don't want to hear this. Arkansas sends cease and desist letter to 2 fantasy football sites claiming illegal sports betting. The Department of Finance and Administration sent cease and desist letters to 2 companies it believes are offering unlicensed sports betting in Arkansas. Hold on one second. Let me see this helicopter. Arkansas sends cease and desist letter to 2 fantasy football sites claiming illegal sports betting. The Department of Finance Administration sent cease and desist letters to 2 companies it believes are offering unlicensed sports betting in Arkansas. The DFA said the 2 companies were operating as daily fantasy sports organizations, explaining that Underdog Sports Holding and Side Prize Picks operate a type of fantasy football where consumers create a team, earn points based on the fantasy sports performance. So this ain't even legal, bro. And they can look that up. You can look that up, find out for yourself. Scraps fantasy football draft amid collusion concerns. This is back in 2023. DraftKings recently scrapped a best ball fantasy football draft after a user produced solid evidence of collusion. The operator made its name as a pioneer of the daily fantasy sports space and now offers season-long fantasy contests for NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball under the Best Ball brands. The Best Ball draft in question occurred several days ago and started innocently enough, with the first 2 selections being Vikings, Jefferson, and 49ers, McCaffrey. From there, things got suspicious, stoking concern among a draft participant by the screen name Blackburn. Blatant collusion in DraftKings Best Ball draft. The 3rd pick of the draft in question was Buffalo Bills wide receiver Gabriel Davis, a player who would normally go anywhere close to that high. Now, I don't fully understand, but this is on casino.org. Go read the story. DraftKings scraps fantasy football draft amid collusion concerns. Can we talk? Might not be no calls today. Everybody quiet because they got them debts. Y'all gambling? Thank you, Arthur. See, these are the hard shows. It's easy to talk about some of the other stuff. It's when you dig into people's chests and you ask them, why are you watching Joe Budden if he's selling his prize picks? What are we going to do if Mark Cuban sold the team to the Dallas Mavericks to the Sands court? Mark Cuban explains why he sold majority stake of the Dallas Mavericks, the team that's playing today in the Western Conference Finals. The NBA on Wednesday approved Cuban's sale of a controlling interest. Come on, can I get to it? In the Mavericks to the Adelson and Dumont families who run Las Vegas Sands court. Mark Cuban sees a future of NBA ownership where the advantages will be in real estate. All right, well, let's read the rest of this. The high-profile billionaire says that's why he sold his majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks to a pair of families with strong ties to the hotel and casino industry. The NBA on Wednesday approved Cuban's sale of a controlling interest in the Mavericks to the Adelson and Dumont families who run Las Vegas Sands court. The deal was approved just shy of a month since Miriam Adelson and Sivian and Patrick Dumont announced their intention to buy the club. The purchase is in the valuation range of $3.5 billion. Patrick Dumont, Adelson's son-in-law and president and chief operating officer of the Las Vegas Sands, will serve as Mavericks governor. Adelson is the widow of casino magnate Sheldon Adelson. Cuban will be the alternate governor with a 27% stake in the team and will maintain control of basketball operations. He made it clear there were no plans for the franchise to leave Dallas. The advantage is what you can build and where you need to have somebody who's really, really good at that, Cuban said before the Mavericks game against Cleveland on Wednesday night. Patrick and Miriam, they're the best in the world at what they do, and what they do is the Sands Corp and gambling. I need you to see this because Mark Cuban's big wager on gambling in Texas faces long odds in the Texas Senate. Can the Mavs' new Las Vegas owners' deep pockets overcome conservative Texas senators' opposition to gambling? So you got the conservatives against the gambling. less by $6 billion than unfathomably deep pockets of Las Vegas casino magnate Miriam Adelson with son-in-law Patrick Dumont. Adelson heads the group that built the Venetian and the Palazzo on the Vegas Strip. This week, the NBA Board of Governors, so the governors now approve a casino family to own an NBA team. It's time to pack it up. Approved her acquisition of the Mavericks for $3.5 billion. Adelson has the power to prompt Cuban to sell his beloved Mavs, but it is her $33 billion empire and considerable influence with Republican lawmakers in Texas. There's levels to that whiteness. Enough to bring legalized gambling to the Lone Star State, ? I want you guys to understand, I brought this up a couple of times. What happened with crack, and I'm talking about it from the horse's mouth. Doing my documentary on the Iran-Contra and exposing what happened in the good and how we got to the crackhead, I got to talk to the center of it, Freeway Rick, a lot. One-on-one. And it's not as simple as like Nino Brown on New Jack City. So what happened was young black boys had no access to no money. I'm talking about like back then, you might not have $1 and your mama might not have $2. So cocaine was once part of film budget, said Dennis Quaid back in 2011. Actor Dennis Quaid says his biggest mistake was getting addicted to cocaine, but that drug was so prevalent in Hollywood in the 80s that supplies were built into the budgets of movies. Cars, food and dining, cocaine. Imagine seeing that as a line item. And what happened as a result is young black folks that saw that confused cocaine with money. Now, should they have known? Should they known better? Possibly. Should they have gotten better through time? Yeah, definitely. What I'm saying is that we are, in my view, in the precipice of sports and gambling being in the same space. So when you trying to play tennis like the white people, you try to touch the cocaine like the white people, because the white people have the access to the American dream. Well, now we have a situation where the sports has been so normalized, we don't see it like alcohol. We don't see it like drugs, cocaine, weed, nothing. So we allow our children to take it in. But now comes the moment I'm telling you where cocaine becomes crack, where sports gets so intertwined with gambling that the casino team, owns, the casino house owns one of the teams. And where your nostalgia is used in ways that are not only unhealthy, but take away your decision making at a biological level, in my view, based on reading. You got that dopamine hit. It is a place where government needs to step in a similar vein to how they did with Joe Camel. But it's also a place where you got to step in and start to ask your question, can I even have this in my home with a 15-year-old that can't make those decisions? Part of the reason when you go back that they had such a problem in Arkansas, let me go back, that they had such a problem in New York was that they were allowing 19-year-olds, not 21-year-olds. So they were bringing it back 2 years. The brain ain't even formed, and allowing them to get themselves into trouble way too early in life. Prize Pigs. Nobody's saying nothing. We don't even want to talk about it. Y'all sitting around got your whole situation set up around taking your kid to become a basketball star, a football star. I wrote the piece on Vice, Football's War on the Minds of Black Men, almost a decade ago now. Vice Sports. I told you about the Decadent Veil. You've ignored most of it, whether you feel like you've listened or not. And now comes the moment where you might have to deal with the consequence of ignoring. Don't understand. This might be the new Hunger Games, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Go to tonetalks.net to subscribe, donate, and share. Thank you so much.